All right, guys, we are here again at the Florida Audio Expo 2024. We're going to be talking with Lars Johansen from Perlisten Audio. That's what we're going to be talking about in today's video.
Hi, Gene. Thanks for having me here.
It's awesome having you here, Lars. So I want to talk to you. First of all, what's your title? What do you do at Perlisten? Because I haven't had you on video before.
That's true. I am responsible sales, marketing, global operation, building the distribution network, working close with our distributors around the world. For example, in the US with Fidelity Imports, who are our exclusive distributor for the US.
Well, here's the cool thing, guys, I want to talk to you about. We're at Florida Audio Expo, which is traditionally a two-channel audio place, right? Last year we came here, you guys did one of the first at this show. You integrated subwoofers with speakers. In a lot of audiophile communities, it's a no-no. They don't want to do subwoofers. They want to do full-range speakers. But what I heard in that system last year, I thought it was one of the best sounding systems in the entire show. I think it was your R series, your monitors.
It was the R5M monitor together with a couple of push-pull subwoofers.
The R210S.
Exactly.
So when I heard this system, the bass was seamless. It didn't sound like there were subwoofers in the room. And you had just an integrated amplifier. You didn't even have anything with room correction. I think it was a brand called Audia Flight.
Yeah, correct.
And guys, that system was just incredible. I actually preferred the sound of that system versus the S7Ts in the room next to it, just because that room wasn't great, right?
Yeah.
But having those subs in there close to the wall really brought the fullness of the bass. It pressurized the room great. The system played exceedingly loud and clean. And now you guys took another risk this year. You brought multi-channel here. You're one of the only doing multi-channel at a two-channel audio place.
Yeah, I think that boils really good into what Perlisten is all about, is to move the bar a little bit, try to show the world the possibilities within our brand. So this year we have again teamed up with Fidelity Audio, Dream Media, and we have this wonderful room here with immersive audio, showing the audience that, you know, it's not always something dry and audiophile where you can hear the grass growing. This is a fun place, and we like to do things like this. And I think you will see that in the years to come as well.
Yeah.
Moving the bar.
Well, that's what I like about you guys. You do things very unconventional. And when you look at your speaker and you don't really, if you don't know about it, you look at this tweeter array and you're like, what the heck is that all about? Maybe why don't you talk a little bit about what was the genesis of that? Why did you guys come up with something like that? And why does that give so many advantages to your speakers in terms of just getting even sound in the area and just getting good coverage even from above you?
No, I think the DPC array is part of our DNA. And we knew that when we came to the market some 3 years ago, we needed technology at a high level. We needed some stories. We needed the THX dominoes. All those elements talks that we are a little bit different. We also came to market with a full range of speaker, 2 complete line, a complete range of subwoofer, which I don't think we have seen that done maybe in the last 3 decades. And the DPC array is part of the uniqueness in any of our Perlisten speakers. And I think I will boil it like this because I know we're going to show the S7 limited edition later in the show, and Dan would probably be the right person to go deep into the DPC array.
Well, one thing, another thing you guys did last year was you released a whole series of in-wall products, and these were not just afterthoughts. A lot of speaker companies will just do in-walls as an afterthought. You guys engineered these meticulously with the back boxes, with really low tolerance parts, high output parts like the resistors that you were using. I mean, this is like some serious engineering into your in-walls. And now that's kind of blown up. You have every kind of product category architectural.
Exactly. And I think, again, part of the strength and what makes us stronger, I just played that song, by the way, is that we have a full range. We cover all markets. There's nearly no application where we don't have a solution. The CI business, the architectural speakers, was a natural expansion of our product offering. And just recently, maybe 4 months ago, just before Christmas, we started to ship our in-ceiling speakers. And we can also promise that I think I wrote a newsletter this year, which we called This is going to be subwoofer year. So we are not only introducing more subs within the R range, we are also coming out later in the year, hopefully seedier time, with a couple of in-wall, on-wall subwoofers.
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling me about that. There's some IP stuff right now, but that looks really promising. You know, another cool thing is just this setup here. You've got the kaleidoscope, obviously. They didn't just use a run-of-the-mill receiver in here or just the mainstream brands that you would normally accustomed to. You've got a company called Premier, which I'm unfamiliar with, but it's a very impressive system. It's got a processor as well as an amplifier, and it drove this room really nicely. Was there a reason why you guys paired that up with Premier? Do you just have good luck with the brand, or?
Good luck. I mean, a lot of our partners around the world, distributors, are also Premier distributors. So we have had some great success at a couple of exhibitions. One major one in the UK, which were coupled with Premier. And Premier is actually originally Danish. They are now based in Malmö, just 30 kilometers from where I live. And we have been having some talks about synergy between our brands, sharing products within our showrooms and so on. So Premier is definitely a valid partner for Perlisten.
Cool. We're going to definitely check out more of that in the year to come. Well, Lars, it was awesome having you on camera. I think we're going to drag Dan in here because I want to talk about future products of Perlisten. I also want to talk about the limited edition. I'm just in love with that speaker. I just want to hear some little design details on that with Dan.
Perfect.
Right,
okay.
It's great seeing you.
You too.
Yep. We're here with Dan Roemer. You guys know who he is. I don't need to introduce you. You're a legend in the field. I wanted to talk to you about the limited edition S7Ts. We covered this before, but we got to sit here and listen to them again. Dan, there's a lot going on with this speaker. I've got, as you know, the S7Ts in my family room system. These are the limited edition. I do hear sonic differences. It's not just bass. These speakers, I mean, not that the S7Ts are any slouch. These speakers do take it to the next level. I wanted you to talk about some of the things behind that, because obviously there's more bass extension, there's more depth to the bass, but I hear so much great tonality as well. I hear more intimacy in the sound. Can you give us a little rundown of why that might be?
Absolutely. And thanks for coming again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and this is actually a classic case of where maybe the measurements belie the sound that actually comes out. So an S7T, which these are based largely on, right? The curves are very similar. And one of the comments you made after listening, you asked if the treble was actually measuring differently, and the answer is no, and actually it's the same transducer. But some of the things we do underneath with the pair matching, that's a massive difference, right? That's part of the really good imaging we get, but also in the power response, the full characteristic. How we're achieving the power response, there's a lot going on in the DPC array, and how we handle the handoff between the mid-range to the tweeter. And so in that 2, 3, 4 kilohertz, even 5 as the mids are rolling off, we found a different way to blend the mids into the tweeter. And that now you'll hear that in the total response speaker, but it doesn't always show up in an axial response.
Right, exactly. And then the other thing too is this is aluminum base plate, so you have more power dissipation.
Yeah, for sure. And so the concept is not different than maybe putting transistors on the same heatsink, right? So here we have aluminum. We already have integral aluminum heatsinks right on the tweeter, right next to the voice coil. Now they're coupled to the same aluminum piece that we machine the entire waveguide out of. So it's essentially one giant heatsink.
Right. Now the woofer's got some upgrades, right? It's got a larger motor structure to it, so it's got a longer throw, a little bit bigger X-Max on it.
Yeah, and this is where, a lot of steps forward in the tech behind the S7 and how we improve the sonic signature of the speaker. So it has, I'd say, about 20% more excursion, linear, than a standard S7. But inside, we reworked the entire the shorting rings so that we could reduce the inductance of the coil even more. And the coil is a little bit lighter than prior, so it's a lighter, higher excursion, lower inductance. And then kind of the icing on the cake is you can see the copper here. Yeah, it's cosmetic for sure, but this is actually coupled with copper screws into the internal heat sinking, so it pulls the heat out. And then here there's a little slot where we actually convectively cool the coil. Air air blast past the coil as it's moving in and out, and it keeps it that much cooler. So again, this is like the on steroids version of the existing S7.
So now my understanding is you're only making 50 pairs of these and they're almost all sold out. What's next for Perlisten? If this speaker is done, when it gets to 50, which unfortunately I'm not going to have that 50th pair.
Yeah. We had you flagged for 51, but we ran out of parts. So I'm sorry. Sucks. No.
What is the future for Perlisten? I'm curious because we're at an audio show, a 2-channel audio show. And like I said before, there's cables here that cost more than these $30,000 speakers. What's the next level? Are you guys going to take things up a notch and go to the extreme? Is that something on your roadmap?
For sure. Honestly, when we did the limited edition project, it started as a carbon fiber cosmetic, and we were thinking maybe a couple small upgrades, but then Eric and I sat and just talked about all the things we learned doing the whole S-series project, we call it, because you had to tune every speaker within that. And we had so many ideas that we wanted to try, and we just talked about the DPC, we talked about the driver, there's things we did in the crossover. Those are Perlisten tech. I want to say that now this was the test bed for the springboard to the next level, and we can take these and implement them in more designs, and that's the future. That's where we're going.
Well, I'm excited for the company. The last thing I want to talk about is I want to give a shout out to the electronics here, a company called Audia Flight. I didn't even know who they were a year ago, but I know you used their stuff in the demos that you did last year, and I was in love with it. Then we heard that at CEDIA, the integrated Audia Flight amplifier was just a beautiful sounding piece of electronics. It looks crafted like just a beautiful piece of machinery. And this is an Italian brand. Can you tell us the electronics, what's in here? Is it integrated or are you doing separates?
So this is separates now. So at CEDIA, what you heard, I think it was called the FLS 10. It's the integrated 2-channel. And into the limited edition, I might be butchering it a little bit, but I'd say it's close to 400 watts per channel. And my understanding is this is now splitting those into 2 pieces. So you've got the preamp DAC, and I believe it also comes with a phono stage or optional. And then now the amp is separated in its own chassis. And again, it virtually doubles from
down
8 to 4.
Oh yeah, it's got a serious power supply in it. I was looking at the specs on it. So this is just a beautiful setup here. Dan, I really appreciate you dropping in knowledge. Guys, if you like this video, please hit the thumb up, hit subscribe. Don't forget about our Patreon channel at patreon.com/audioholics. We appreciate your support. And until next time, my friends, keep listening.